In this lesson, what I'd like to talk about is working with something called a feathered edge when we're making selections. So what I'd like you to do is head over to our Photoshop, to our classroom, and we're going to download our last one, which is PSB5. We're going to open it in a new window and download, and then we'll open it in Photoshop. So essentially what a feathered edge means is it's simply a blended edge. So instead of being sharp and very distinct, you get kind of this blend going from distinct pixels that kind of fade into the background. So depending upon the tool that you're using, some of these tools, some of the selection tools have a feathered edge and some do not. If they have a feathered edge, when you're clicked on it, when you're clicked on the tool, I should say, your options bar would say feather. So if you look at your magic wand right now, that just happens to be the tool I have selected, you're going to see that there is no feather. If we click on our elliptical marquee tool, you're going to see a feather. So the one thing you have to remember is that Photoshop saves the last thing that you did. So if you turn a feather on, Photoshop is going to remember that. So if you make a selection and you get a blended edge, you might have to just use your history panel and back up and take the feathered edge off if that's not what you want. So let's see what a feathered edge actually looks like. So what we want to do is use our elliptical marquee tool, and I'm going to type a feather of 32. So I'm going to just type 32 in the feather box. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Alt key. Remember, the Alt key with the elliptical marquee tool means that it comes out from the center. So I'm going to hold my Alt key down, and then I'm just going to drag and kind of select almost like an oval type shape. And then I'm just going to move it a little bit over so that she's centered kind of in that shape. And you don't see the blended edge right now, but if you go ahead and grab your move tool and then move this over, you will see what I mean by having a blended edge. So when I deselect here, you'll see how it is sharper here and then starts to fade off into the background. That's what we call a feathered edge. If we were to use our history panel and kind of back our way up to the open, like I said, I'm going to turn my feather off this time. Oops. Turn it down to 0. And then I'm going to hold my Alt key again, make that selection. And then if I move that, you'll see how that's very, very distinct. Okay, distinct, clear edge, no feathering. So that's the difference. Depending upon what you are selecting, what type of a graphic that you're doing, that is a choice that is completely up to you as the designer. The other thing I just want to mention, and I said that I would later in the lessons, notice your background color. So far, we've only ever worked with our foreground color. Our background color is set to white. So when we pulled that selection off, the background of that image turned white. If we wanted to, we could change our background color. Not that it's a big deal, but just so you can see what it means. I'm just going to choose red. It's kind of a bright color, so we'll see it really easily. So again, I'm just going to make a selection. It's not going to be very good because I just want to show you here. And when I pull that over, there's your background color as red. So that's all it is. If you ever need to set that to a certain color, you can do that. Just wanted to show you the difference between your foreground and your background color. So that's how you do either a feathered edge or a not feathered edge. And again, that's just a personal preference for the type of document or graphic that you're creating. So this is all we needed this for. You can go ahead and close it, and we'll head over and do our very last video which is adding selections onto a new graphic.